Available now on VOD and digital is a new thriller from director William Jewell. This is a British film entitled Concrete Plans. This is the sordid tale of a group of average working class rough and tumble workmen who are hired by a well-to-do young urbanite to fix up his family farm in the wilds of England, in the rolling country hills, and things just, they don't quite go according to the work schedule. Let's put it that way. Basically, to give you a little bit of the plot, I kind of want to give you none of the plot because it's better to see these things unfold as they do over the course of the story. But these workmen are hired. They all have their own issues and reasons to take the job. They're in a remote location, really poor work conditions. They're treated poorly by this sort of, to use an old phrase, yuppie who's their boss. And he keeps putting off paying them. And they get increasingly frustrated with their lack of being paid on time. And things go in probably not the best direction for all involved. We'll leave it at that. So I quite enjoyed this. This has one familiar face to me who'd been in a lot of other British stuff, but mostly a cast that, unless you are really well versed in British TV and cinema, you probably don't know, and that's fine. Everybody's really good in this. I tend to like movies more. Something I like about movies, let's put it that way, is when I don't immediately identify with some of the actors from something else. To me, these actors are just the characters I'm seeing in the movie, and I'm not bringing any baggage or thinking about anything else. It's less distracting to me, put it that way. So the guys who played the workmen are great. You believe they are who they are. The actors who play the affluent couple are effective. The master of the house, the captain as they call him, you not very far into seeing this character, I just said out loud, whatever happens to this guy, I'm kind of going to be okay with that. So he effectively plays a not nice guy. And similarly, as things develop and escalate, some of the workmen, I said the same thing. Whatever happens to this guy, that's okay. This movie reminded me of, in broad strokes, it reminded me of Straw Dogs in terms of the setting and the working class versus upper crust kind of interloper vibe, but also more of a movie I really liked, a Sam Raimi film called A Simple Plan, where something kind of unfortunate happens and a plan is hatched and things keep getting worse and worse, and it's just bad decision upon bad decision, and you just sit there squirming saying, are they going to keep going with this? Where is this going to lead? And the answer is, of course, nowhere good. So Concrete Plans, similar to A Simple Plan title-wise, Concrete Plans was really good, and this is one I would recommend. It might be classed as a horror film because there's certainly some gruesome, dark moments in the film, some really hard to watch moments in the film. Overall, I would call it a thriller, really. A thriller with some very gruesome moments, some stuff that's a little hard to see. My only real complaint with this movie, is that some of the accents are really hard to understand. You've got a mix of, I think, Welsh and various British dialects in this. And I'm not a guy who's like, I remember when the Full Monty came out, some people were like, oh, I couldn't understand a word they said. I'm not like that. I love British content. There was a year or two where I was mostly watching British film and TV. So I'm good with the accents. But this one, the way the workmen spoke and some of it may have also been jargon and slang that I'm not well aware of. But it made it kind of difficult to understand what they were saying at times. It's not hard to follow the movie. I trusted that the storyline was going to be very clear. It's just some of the conversations the guys were ragging on each other or talking about certain things. I just kind of had to throw up my hand and say, I trust it's going to make sense when it happens. This is one where when it gets a physical release, when it gets a release where you can, and maybe you can, I'm not really sure, maybe with the on-demand and digital releases, there may be an option for closed captioning or subtitles. I think this is one that a lot of American viewers are probably going to want to have subtitles at times for. Otherwise, it's really easy to follow. It takes a really dark turn toward inevitable bad outcomes for more than one person, let's put it that way. But this was really gripping. It's really well shot, and I would recommend this. This is Concrete Plans, out now on digital and video on demand from Dark Sky Films.